Hey, how you guys doing today? It's autotips.ca come with another video. Last week we did a video on difference of the applications on the types of the brakes that we've been dealing with after the asbestos crisis. So right now we're gonna be doing the part 2 to that video, and this is gonna be installing new pads and rotors. The car we're working on is a GMC Terrain 2012, and then we're gonna do a front brake pad and rotor inspection and adjustment as well. But for now we're gonna show you guys how to do the rear brakes. This video doesn't qualify you like to do the actual job. It's just for only its intention is to give you more knowledge what it takes to do brakes. So be careful. If you're planning to do your own brakes, make sure you know what you're doing, but do it on your own risk. Okay, let's enjoy this video together. Let's do it. So these are your brakes, caliper bracket, and then you got your rotor here. So since this is a little bit dirty, you could just try to spray all that because you don't want to be breathing all that dust. So we're doing with the rear bracket. Get the one bolt out, you could just move this one out like that. You don't have to take the other side off. So this is your caliper. So later what we're gonna do is we have to clean all this stuff. See all this? This has to be cleaned up, washed it properly, and then we're gonna give it a little bit of loop here, because this is the part that goes in and out whenever you press the brake pedal. And these are your brake pads here. So you can see they got a, this is the wear indicator here. So there's not much left, like with the wear indicator. It's almost on a straight line with that. So those are your brake pads. We're gonna show you guys what the new look like. For now, I'm just gonna set them here. Now we're gonna move the caliper bracket. For that, you need a 15 mil. Always when you loosen the bolts, it's good to be straight with the car. It gives you much power. These are the shims. Sometimes the new brakes, if you got one of those offshores, they don't come with these, so make sure you don't throw those ones. Usually what we do is, like, as soon as I get it, just I put it here, let it soak in there, and then try to get the rotor now. So this rotor, of course, you got to make sure your emergency brake is not applied, but you can tell it's been there for a long time, you know. So for this to get it out, you have to put 2 bolts in here and then pull it out. So you see, when you have this one a little bit tight like that, you just grab a hammer and just hit it. Woo! There you have it. So we got this one out. You can tell this wheel bearing is finished too. The rear wheel bearing here. So we're gonna do the rear brakes. So these are your emergency shoes. Like you can tell, these ones here, every time you apply your emergency, they will go expand, and then that will hold against this part of the rotor, you know. So they just seize up whenever they're not used. So it's always good to exercise to use your emergency brake. We're gonna recommend them to get the emergency brakes done. But for the sake of the video, we're gonna continue the rear pads and rotors. So what we're doing right now is, because the rotor is gonna be sitting here, so we gotta make sure we clean this stuff here. Like you can see over here, stuff that I can't reach. It's a little bit of rusty spot. Fluid to dry fast. I'm gonna give it a shot of brake cleaner. So brake cleaner is just an alcohol kind of thing. So it takes all the moisture, so this thing doesn't rust and stuff. Now we're gonna be putting the anti-seize. When you got the anti-seize, yes, you gotta put a light one here, around here, so the rotor, it won't be stuck in there, it'll be floating. It has to go back and forth whenever you apply and you release the brake. So you're just gonna give it a nice coat here. Try not to put anti-seize on these ones here. Those are where your lug nuts are gonna be tightened. You want them like really tight. Yeah, I don't like to put anti-seize on those ones. It's not a good idea because you don't want that stuff to come loose while you're driving. Make sure you got your shimmers before you throw the old ones in there. Those are like a mid-grade pads because the car has like 235, so you don't want to be putting something premium stuff. So you can see they have the shimmers, which is good. And then these are the pads. They come like that for each side. So always when you got a rotor like that, they have a lot of oil residue, so they don't want the rotor to rust. It comes with a lot of oil. Make sure you clean it. The reason I clean this part first, because when I lay down here, this part where the pads sit is not going to be touching the box. So try not to, you have to clean your hands nice and clean. Give it a little bit of extra alcohol, and this baby is ready. Because you don't want to have any oil or any anti-seize here because it will mess up the friction disc. Okay, so now we got to look for that part that we dipped over here. So this is all done. So this is the part that I put over there just for it to get soaked. So for that, we're gonna get this drill here. See, these are where the pads are gonna sit, you know. So you gotta make sure these are nice and clean. So you gotta make sure these are free. These are, every time you apply the brakes, this goes like that. When you release it, it has to come back. So it has to have that little spring back, you know. If this seizes, your brake is gonna stay applied. Of course, it's gonna wear out your brake pads in no time, you know. So before you put those shimmers here, it's a good idea to give it a little bit of anti-seize. Just put a little bit of anti-seize here. I mean, everybody has his own style. I like to use as much lube where is necessary. You're gonna put these ones here. So you gotta know how to put those, because you see, if you put those the opposite, this is gonna touch the rotor. So these ones, you make sure they're on outside. These clips facing outside. And you turn it here again. And you put those again. The bent part has to face the rotor. Okay, so this is ready to go. So what we're gonna do is, there's some loops we gotta use. So this is, like I was telling you guys, you gotta make sure you take these one out, wipe it, put some of these stuff. See how it goes back? And we're gonna do the same thing on this one as well. The other shaft is actually here. We're gonna show you that after. So I'm gonna put these back. Caliper brackets. So you gotta know what you're doing, you know. So you gotta go down here, put your glasses on. Yeah, having tools is very important. This will save a lot of time. Always make sure this caliper, this rotor is not binding. Like it's always, you see how it's moving in and out? See how these pads are different? So this is the wear indicator. This one, it doesn't have wear indicator, so you have to put each on each side. So this has to go on the other side. You can't have two wear indicators on the same side. You put a little bit of NSCs here, because brakes has to be always moving. It can't be stuck in one place. So the wear indicator goes from the inside. It looks better because here you have this bracket. It won't let you to put that. So you got the slots here lined up. Just line them up. Same thing here. So once you line it up, you got a flat screwdriver here. Just push it and this is in. So you have a groove here. This is the shim, that's the shim. The same thing for the back. You just push it. Last but not least, we got this caliper. Like I was telling you guys, we need to clean it up pretty good. You gotta push the caliper back, because unless you push this caliper back, you can't put with the new pads. See how I'm pushing it back? So this is as far as it goes. And you can see the movement. So this caliper is pretty good. And then when it comes here, this is like extra ceramic. It helps the brake pads stay in the same place. So I apply this a little bit on the back bracket. Same thing here. It helps it to be glued with the caliper so they can move together with the caliper, you know. So make sure this hose is not twisted, you know, like sometimes the caliper, if you put it like that, whenever you hold the brake, the car will be changing lanes. So you got to make sure this is straight line. That's very important. Then you apply some of these still. On the other side, I already did it. So you're gonna put this back. See how this is all in and out now? It's good. Then we slide it back because the caliper is already retracted. So it just goes smooth. There you have it. I got the caliper bracket bolt. You got 14 mil in this situation. Make sure it's nice and tight. So you guys seen us to do one side, so the other side is just the same thing like what we did on this side. So for the purpose of this video, that's what's gonna be, you know. So that's what it is, guys. We did the rear brakes on a 2012 GMC Terrain. Hopefully it's educational, but like I said, brakes are very important and they're one of the major safety feature. So please, if you don't know what you're doing, don't try it at home. This is just a mere video to show you guys what it takes to do the brakes. If you know how to do it, like you've seen it, it's not that hard, but be qualified to do this thing, because you're putting other people and yourself in risk by not knowing what you're doing. Till another video, peace.